company dismissed. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Lovely.
Welcome to another Sky Blue History podcast with me, Claudio, and the Gandalf to my Frodo when it comes to Coventry City knowledge, the club's historian, Jim Brown. It's always a pleasure to catch up and, of course, chat about our rich history. Now, in this episode, we'll be paying tribute to a former player, looking at Hadji Wright's goals, CBS attendances. This we can fit it in the hour, of course. The club's oldest player, plus questions and some memories from fans, and of course our fantastic listeners who keep writing in with some great emails and messages, and it's always great to have that come into us. Before we get stuck in like a Michael Doyle tackle, I'd like to say thank you to Dean Nelson for giving me the FA Cup replay programme from 1974 against Sheffield Wednesday, which I've been missing, and I'm not sure what to do now, because it reminds me of when I was collecting every number one single from the 1960s, and the only one I had missing, Jim, was I Pretend by Des O'Connor, and I found it in a bargain bucket, and the immediate excitement turned into sadness because the chase was over. That's the trouble when you're collecting things, isn't it?
So how far does your collection of home programmes go now then?
Well, I wanted to get from when my dad started going from 56, 57, and I kind of ended at Highfield Road that last season, but I've carried on collecting. But I've got loads of incomplete seasons beyond that.
Okay.
Only a few programs here and there, but they're just so big, aren't they?
They are. So you've got a complete set from 56 to 2005, have you?
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for.
Good.
And it's took a while.
Yeah, well, very generous of Dean.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Because it's quite a rare program.
I know. But what I like about it is it's got team changes on it, so it looks so authentic. I love that.
Yes.
Because obviously, being a single sheet, quite easy to print off, isn't it, and duplicate. Yeah. But you can tell by the paper, the team changes. It's fantastic. But Jim,
great!
What a week it's been. Have you enjoyed your week this week?
Yes, I enjoyed the game on Saturday. Apart from Norwich's tactics, but some amazing stats coming out of that game about our chances and touches in the opposition box. And I read that this XG thing, which everybody quotes, I don't fully understand it, to be honest, but I heard somebody say that our XG on Saturday was only betted 3 times in the Championship in the whole of last season.
Yeah, and I think it's the highest XG without actually winning the game, I think, as well.
Ah, right.
Because what it proves, though, doesn't it? I suppose law of averages, because we had 28 shots compared to the 8 shots against QPR, where we scored 7 goals, and we only got 1 goal on Saturday. According to the XG, Norwich were 0 point something, so they shouldn't have scored, and they did.
0.2.
Yes, so so it is bizarre, isn't it, really? But it was exactly what we've been getting for the last few months. It is entertaining, isn't it? It's great to watch.
Yes, it's great. It is very good, and I just a little bit worried that we play this expansive open football against some of the better sides, and come a cropper. But we'll find out on Saturday, won't we, at Leicester?
I think Saturday will be a really good example, actually, of if we play the same way. But it'd be interesting, won't it? And basically, I'd sooner watch us than watch Norwich, if that's what you're going to do away from home. 107 stoppages in 90 minutes.
Really?
Or 90 plus 10 minutes, probably. So basically, a stoppage every minute, which is ridiculous.
It is. And I guess, though, it shows a lot of respect for us.
Yeah.
The side comes and defends for their life and does all these time wasting tactics. I think it's respect they're showing us. Yeah.
Yeah, because Norwich have never done that in the past, have they? Well,
No.
they're the ones who took the game to us, but it's great to watch. And
Yes.
for all the chances we missed, I'd sooner we be missing chances than not creating any chances.
Yes. And you can't, to be honest, there weren't very many easy chances, were there?
No, and you're not going to get easy chances when you got 10 players behind the ball.
No.
So you are relying on what happens on Saturday to break
Yes.
the ice, basically, or a free kick or something.
Yes.
I mean, if EMC scores after 2-3 minutes, the game opens up straight away.
Yeah. We could have had another 7, couldn't we?
But yeah, we'll see Saturday. I'm looking forward to Saturday. Should be good.
Yeah.
Right. Where would you like to start, Jim?
Well, I thought we could pay our respects to Bobby Graham, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, very sadly at the age of 80, back in his home country of Scotland. I looked into his career a little bit actually before tonight, and he came through the Liverpool ranks and got his debut as a 19-year-old at Anfield.
Right.
Which I think was quite strange in those days. I think they in the mid-60s. I know they had Tommy Smith and Ian Callaghan, but there weren't many teenagers broke through. He got his debut in a European Cup game actually against Reykjavik in 1964 and scored a goal. And his league debut about 10 days later was against Aston Villa at Anfield. And would you believe he got a hat-trick? A hat-trick on his debut. It's just his league debut. It's phenomenal. He struggled to get in the side because they obviously had a very strong side in the mid-late 60s. They had Roger Hunt up front. Well, Bobby was a striker, obviously, but they had Roger Hunt and Ian St. John up front. Bobby really only got the chance when one of them was injured or whatever. But then in 69-70, he broke through completely and played every single game. But that was a season when Liverpool were in transition. The old guard were on their way. Players like Tommy Lawrence and Ron Yates. And St. John and Roger Hunt were all getting a bit long in the tooth. So Shankly was in the process of rebuilding. But then sadly in 70-71 season, Bobby broke his leg and it seemed to have a bad effect. It took a long time to recover. And we signed him in early 72. He was actually signed the week before Noel Cantwell got the sack.
Wow.
And made his debut in Cantwell's final game at Leeds. The following day, Derek Robbins knocked on Noel's front door and gave him the bad news that he was being relieved of his duties. So Bobby came in really into a strange situation. That was a funny season for City because the goals really dried up. Neil Martin had been sold at the end of the previous season. John O'Rourke was sold early season. And who else? Brian Joycey was sold as well early in the season. And Billy Rafferty was sort of the main man for a while. And Chris Chilton was signed. Well, Chilton's scoring record was pretty horrendous. I think he only got 3 or 4 goals in 20 odd appearances. Billy's wasn't much better, to be honest. Plus the fact Ernie Hunt was injured. And I think from sort of November time right through to the new year, we only won one league game in 14. So Noel was on, in the modern day, he'd have been sacked, well before he eventually was sacked. But then we had the home FA Cup loss against Hull, and that was the nail in the coffin, really. So Bobby came in. obviously playing under the caretaker manager, Bob Dennison. He played in all of the final 13 games that season. Sadly, only got 2 goals. And then, of course, the following, during the summer, Gordon Milne and Joe Mercer arrived. And he played half a dozen games at the start of the following season, but as soon as Colin Steen arrived, the writing was on the wall. And Bobby left. He went on loan initially to Tranmere, where his old Liverpool teammate and former City assistant manager Ian St John was the boss. And then in the following summer, he was sold to Motherwell, and he played well for Motherwell, scored goals. Later went on to score goals for Hamilton, Accies, and Queen of the South. He really, I think he really suffered from that broken leg. We never saw the best of Bobby Graham. He lacked that half a yard that top strikers needed, in my opinion. And the other thing that I think about Bobby Graham is that really you should never have bought players from Liverpool in the 60s and 70s. They were, Shankly was a shrewd man. He knew when players were over the hill and not good enough for Liverpool. And, we paid 70,000, which was no small fee. I don't know how much we got from Motherwell, maybe about 30,000. So we lost money on the deal. But it reminded me of other Liverpool players we signed. Jeff Strong, Tony Haitley, Larry Lloyd, and really none of them really cut the mustard, you might say. And the other thing, the other team you'd never buy players of is Man United. Those 2 clubs didn't really sell good players. So that's Bobby Graham.
I can think of one exception, Dean Dublin.
Yeah.
But there aren't many.
Thinking about back then in the 70s.
It's interesting because that would have been my 2nd or 3rd season, and I haven't got a great memory of Bobby Graham playing, because that's probably because he didn't play that many games probably in the end.
No, he only played 19 games, yeah.
And my hero was Colin Steen, so obviously I remember Colin, and he replaced him. But it's interesting that, because I often think that when I see him, I think, I don't even remember him playing. It's funny, isn't it? But it's always very sad to lose a former player.
It is. He was a member of the Former Players Association, but to my knowledge, he'd never been to Legends Day.
Right.
I'm pretty certain he hadn't. No. So moving on then, we were going to talk about Haji Wright's goals.
Yes, the phenomenon. I said that right. The phenomenon of Haji Wright, who chalk and cheese for some people, isn't he? Old Haji Wright, but he's scoring the goals, isn't he, Jim?
He certainly is. 5 in 5 games, 4 in the league and 1 at Millwall. He's an enigma, isn't he?
Yes.
But he knows where the goal is. And he almost made a hash of the equaliser on Saturday, but he just gets in the positions, doesn't he?
Well, to be honest, there's a telescopic leg. I don't know how he managed to hook it in, actually. He fell over and still got a touch on it, and he could have had a hat-trick, to be honest, on Saturday. But you're right. You can only just get a hat-trick or miss out on a hat-trick if you're actually in the right place to be able to have a go at getting a hat-trick.
Yeah. And you can see he frightens defenders, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Just the fact that he's scoring goals, defenders just seem to, back off him and look very worried about it every time he gets the ball. He's been a big success already this season. He looks fit. He looks fitter than he's looked since he came here, I think. long may it continue. But he a bit of a record on Saturday. That's 5 in 5, and I had to look up who was the last player to get 5 in a row. But and it was actually Matty Godden.
Right.
But Matty's were not in the same season. He got 4 at the end of the League One promotion season. He scored against. He scored at Rochdale. He scored the equaliser against Rotherham. The winner against Sunderland and the winner against Ipswich. And then at the start of the following campaign, he didn't score at MK Dons, but that wasn't a league game anyway. So he scored against Bristol City away, and he got the first goal against QPR at St Andrews, which was a header, I think. Seem to remember. So it was 6 league in 6 goals in 6 league games. And I was having a look at Matty's scoring that over that period, and I know he started quite well when he came from Peterborough, but he went on a bit of a drought in the autumn. Even though the team were doing pretty well, he went 10 games without scoring. In fact, got dropped, and Max Biamo came in as the sole striker. And then he got the 2 hat-tricks at Wickham and at Tranmere. Yep. Those were his first goals for 10 games. And then after the hat-tricks, he went another 7 without scoring. And again, he found himself on the bench. And the equaliser against Rotherham, I don't know if you remember that game. It was a night game at St Andrews. Yep. He came off the bench to get the equaliser, and I seem to remember it was quite late in the day.
Because the guy who was at Middlesbrough scored, didn't he?
Yeah, Matt Crooks.
Yeah, Crooks scored. He looked huge on that pitch that night.
He's a very, very good player, I think, or he was very good then.
Yeah, he's a solid midfielder. Yeah, but I just remember thinking he looked massive compared to our midfield.
Yeah. It's amazing. Rotherham were one of our biggest rivals at that time, weren't they? That was a massive result, getting a draw there.
Yeah, because Paul Warne used to play up front with Mark Robbins, didn't they? They used to play together.
That's right. Yeah,
that's interesting. Had you right then? So he's got to be close to 50 goals. Is there any danger that he could be the quickest to get to 50 goals? Have you?
I haven't looked at that, to be honest. But I did. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that his scoring record is better than Victor's. His goals per minute is better than Victor's. That's something that'll have to be my homework this week. Ian Wallace must be
close.
Yeah. And Clary Borton, of course.
Oh yeah, maybe it's Clary Borton.
He only took a season to get to 50.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So somebody asked me who held the record for the most successive games with a goal, and of course it's Clary. In that famous 31-32 season where he scored in 11 consecutive games. How many goals do you think he got in those 11 games?
I'm going for 26.
Well, no, 20.
Oh, well, it's not a tough guess. I was thinking a few hat-tricks in there.
Yeah. So he went 11, and then the following season he scored in 9 consecutive games.
20 goals in 11 matches. Ridiculous.
Yeah, phenomenal. the other top ones, Ray Straw scored in 8 consecutive games in 58-59 season. And Terry Gibson scored in 7 in 85-86, although that does include the Full Members Cup.
Right.
But anyway, that's a competitive game, so it does count. And the other recent one to score 5 is Callum Wilson, who got in 2013-14. He scored in 5 consecutive games.
It's quite easy to forget about Callum Wilson, isn't it? I think, with all the recent history we've had and what's gone on since he left the club, and how he's done in his career, which is magnificent, really, to play for England as well.
Yes.
It's just a shame we weren't in a position back then to have held on to these players a bit longer. If we were, like, imagine if it was now, we're not getting rid of them, we're not selling the players, really. There's rumours now that Jack Redoney, Talk Sport going on about it, or Sky, it looks like he's going to sign a new contract. That's the rumour. But I suppose we've got to just look to the future now. I think what we've got, and it's. I think it's really exciting. Really exciting.
I do as well. And of course, it's reflected in the crowds.
Yes,
talking about the crowds at the CBS. 30,452, I think it was on Saturday. That's the 5th highest ever at the CBS.
It's tremendous, isn't it?
Yeah. And when you consider that Norwich didn't sell their full allocation, I think they're about 300 short of their full allocation. I think we might see a new record for the Blues.
Yeah, well, they've sold their allocation even with the increase in price for the ticket.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. It's great, isn't it?
Yes, I noticed there were a few rows empty at the top of the corner block, weren't there?
Yeah, and also the corporate bit upstairs, the higher on the top balcony. I don't know how they're going to resolve that.
No,
because they're made into the boxes. So
was that full when we had the record crowd against Middlesbrough last season?
It was busier. I wouldn't say it was full.
Right.
It's hard because I sat up there for that game, but you can't really see across. It's difficult. It looks really full till you see it on television. You realise that both corners seem a bit empty.
Yes.
But even down the downstairs bit where Doug sits, there's a lot of those padded seats are empty.
Right.
Because the boardroom isn't as full as it used to be for a start.
Right. Well, I think there'll definitely be 31,000. I would think for the
easy.
So it's going to be another fantastic crowd.
Before we move on to the next bit, then, Jim, because you talk about CBS, a lot of fans are now saying it's our ground. Shouldn't we name some of the stands after former players or managers?
Yeah.
I suggested I think one stand should be called the Sky Blue stand, like we used to have. So if you were to name any of the stands, who would you go for? I mean, also, there's the Anecdote Bar, which probably should be called Singers Bar or Bar 87 or 1883 or something to reflect the club.
Yes,
that's a Wasps thing, isn't it? The Anecdote. That's what they called it.
Yes. I think listening to Doug's Q&A last week, I don't think there's going to be big changes quickly. I think they're going to think very hard about get a proper plan in place.
Yeah.
Rather than do things twice. I think that's what Doug said. So I think I wouldn't expect massive changes in the short term, but I think there'll be a plan evolving for a lot of changes at the stadium. I had a positive meeting with Mark Hornby this week about the feasibility of of things to do with history. And the message I'm getting back is, yes, we know what we know what we want to do. We want to just take our time and do things properly, not rush into anything. So, as I said, I don't think there'll be massive changes in the short term.
So, if you were to name a stand, who would you pick?
Clary Borton.
I know you would. Yeah.
Yes. But it won't be, obviously. But yeah, obviously George Curtis might be a candidate. John Sillett. You could. The trouble is, you couldn't name one George Curtis and not name another John Sillett, could you?
Yeah, just the George and John stand.
Yeah, maybe.
Jimmy Hill. I mean, obviously.
Yes.
Somebody suggested Jimmy Hill in the away end, so when Sunderland turn up, they have to sit in his stand.
Yes.
I quite like that. But there's quite a few. It's great though, isn't it? It's just nice. Just nice that we can even talk about it now in confidence that we can.
Yes.
It's not a pipe dream. It's happened. So that's good. It's good. So where are you going to take me now on this tour de force?
Right. Well, next up, we had a nice email from a friend who comes to home games from Derbyshire, a chap called Brian Barnacle. I'll read out his whole email because it's quite interesting. Jim, if I can't sleep, I don't count sheep, but try to remember as many Coventry City goalkeepers as I can.
Brilliant.
And endeavour to find one for each letter of the alphabet. It also prompted me to wonder who was the oldest player to turn out for us. In my time, it may have been Alf Wood, who, then goalkeeping coach, I think, played when Reg Matthews and his deputy were injured, and who must have been in his 40s. Then we saw a few minutes of Yakubu on the pitch at a time when there were 3 different versions of his age. Do you have a definitive answer?
Yakubu. Somebody said about having a statue of Yakubu, and I said, I think we saw that statue on the pitch. Bizarre, that was. So I'm glad you've cleared that up because on my list it says oldest player Brian Barnacle, and I'm thinking I've never heard of Brian Barnacle. I thought so. I was researching Brian Barnacle, thinking who's this Brian Barnacle? So I'm glad you cleared it up, Brian.
Yeah, just to answer the one about Yakubu, I just looked at his Wikipedia page. I know you can't rely on some of these ages, but apparently he's only 42 now.
It can't be.
So he played for us in 2017. We were his last club. Did you realise that?
Well, I'm not surprised because.
So that's 8 years ago. So he would have been 34. But back to the main point, who is Coventry City's oldest player? And Brian is correct. It is Alf Wood. And Alf had been a goalkeeper before the war. He played a handful of games before the war as deputy to a chap called Bill Morgan. And then after the war, he was the regular choice. He set a record of consecutive appearances, and off the top of my head, it was over 200.
That's good. Yeah. That day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he left us in the early 50s and went to Northampton and carried on playing for Northampton. He was old then. But then he came back to Coventry as just a coach. I don't think he was just a goalkeeping coach. He was just the first team coach. No, he wasn't. He was a trainer come coach. And in 1958, when we were in the 4th division, our one season in the 4th division, the regular goalkeeper, a guy called Jim Sanders, who'd had quite a good career actually. He kept goal for West Brom in the 54 Cup final. He broke his leg against Aldershot, and in came a young lad called Graham Spratt, who played a few games the previous year when we were abysmal. Graham only played one game. I don't know the background to it, but after one game, he was axed, and Alf came out of retirement to play in our 4th Division team. He played 12 games that autumn. We only lost 2 of them. And at the end of that period, they signed Arthur Lightning from Nottingham Forest. I've got a feeling Alf saved a penalty in one of those games. He certainly didn't let the side down. But then he went back to coaching duties, and he stayed at the club. He was one of the coaches who was fired on the day Jimmy Hill came to the club.
Oh, right.
And left as quite a bitter man, actually, sadly. So when he played his final game, he was 43 years, 206 days. So
Wow.
well on the way to being 44, which is a good old age, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suspect, I know Stanley Matthews holds the record. He was over 50 when he played. But I think but for Stanley Matthews, Alf Wood would have been one of the oldest to play league football. He's only less than a year older than Oggy was when he played his final game. That was in May 2000 in a 4-1 win over Sheffield Wednesday. It was the final game of the season, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he was 42 years, 237 days.
Is that the game he retired?
Yes.
That's why he played, wasn't it, I think?
Yes. And he went around the pitch and got a standing ovation against a very, very poor Sheffield Wednesday side. Were they relegated? I think they were relegated.
Yeah.
There's one more 40-year-old, and that was Gordon Strachan.
Yeah.
Who was 40 years, 83 days when he made his final appearance in May 1997. The home game, you probably remember it, the home game with Derby that we lost at home, and we were almost resigned to relegation, and then went and saved ourselves at White Hart Lane the following week.
Yeah, that was an awful week, that was. The build of that game. Because basically we had no hope, really.
No.
Too many things had to go our way, didn't they? Too many things, and they all did, bizarrely.
So that was Gordon's last appearance. In fact, he only made 3 starts that season. He made a few sub-appearances, but 3 starts. But one of them was quite a memorable one, the game against Chelsea, where Chelsea turned up without a change kit.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Leads to the quiz question, isn't it? Who's the best player to ever wear a Cov shirt? Gianfranco Zola. That was a great game, though, wasn't it? That was great. The fact that to wear our kit, and we stuck to our guns. We didn't change, did we? We wouldn't change. Apparently,
no, they were really annoyed, weren't they?
Yeah, that's.
I seem to remember Strachan playing a fantastic pass for one of the goals.
Yeah, Gordon Strachan was brilliant when he played for us. He looked so good for his age.
Yeah.
Embarrassing when he had to. There's a great picture, isn't there, where he's is he getting subbed or about to come off, and Frank Lampard's about to come on for West Ham as I think he's making his debut.
That's right. Yes,
it's a great photograph.
It is the boyish Lampard.
Yeah. But Gordon was, as a player, was tremendous. Just should have gotten 5 years before. That's a shame.
I know, and he really led by example on the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think certain players of a certain ilk, they have a problem when they see other players who are much younger than them, should be much fitter, much faster, just not doing what they should be doing and playing to their potential. One, Noel Whelan is one of those comes to mind, who he took under his wing, didn't he, in the end, to try and put on the straight and narrow, because there's a guy who should have been way, way better than what he was. You know, he'd got all the attributes Noel had, hadn't he? And
Yes.
and it must have frustrated the hell out of Gordon Strachan. Yeah.
Yeah, he persevered with him, didn't he, though?
Yeah. And score of some fantastic goals. Great goals.
So that's the oldest player. I think I had another. Oh, now the oldest debutant is different. It was Dennis Wise.
I was about to say it must be Dennis Wise, yeah.
Yeah, Dennis was 39 and something. Yeah, 39 years plus. But of course, he only stayed a matter of months, didn't he? So he didn't even get to 40 with Coventry. And I think we were his last club, weren't we, that he played for?
Yeah, isn't another player, isn't he? Because Dennis, he looked a lot better when he played for us than when he played for other teams. It's weird, isn't it? When you're against some of these players, you don't think much of them, do you? Then you realise they're actually quite a good player.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think when you see some of these players playing in a very good team, they don't stand out as much as when they play in a lesser team, do they?
Oh, exactly. So, how old was Joe Cole then? Was he? I don't know. Was he early 30s then, Joe Cole? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, well, he wasn't that old, was he?
No.
I'll look him up.
But it was. I mean, what would be the equivalent now? It'd be like signing James Milner, wouldn't it, on January for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he was 34 when he came to Coventry. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a really interesting question from Brian. So thank you, Brian. Then another email, which is interesting. This is to do with the signing of Luke Wolfenden from Ipswich. And I'll read his email because it is interesting. Some more great podcasts recently. Thank you to you both. The final day of the transfer window made me reflect on two transfers from the past. We signed Wolfenden and not Hughes from Hull. Hull were asking too much money, reminiscent perhaps of Larry Lloyd in the 1970s. He was supposedly a key piece of the jigsaw, just like we needed a centre-half this week. The difference being City paid over the odds for Lloyd back then. This time they held back, no doubt uneasy at the fee. A good decision if Larry Lloyd was the comparison, because I don't think his performances ever lived up to expectation, and City felt the consequence in the bank balance. Then Wolfenden made me think of another transfer involving a defender that promised more than it delivered. I'm thinking of Lewis Carey, Bristol City since a boy, bought by City in 2004, did not last, and he was back in Bristol after 20 games or so. A comparison because Wolfie is Suffolk and Ipswich through and through. I'm hoping history does not repeat itself. Memories provoked by present times. Let's see what happens. I think that's quite an interesting comment, don't you?
It is. Let's hope he's not like Lewis Carey. That's not unusual because I think Joey Beecham at Oxford went to where did he go? And then he felt homesick.
Was it West Ham?
Yeah, he was only down the road, wasn't it? It wasn't that far.
Mm.
And he lasted about a week or so. Well, I think it wasn't very long at all, and had to go back because he was homesick.
Yes.
I can't think of too many. I mean, Larry Lloyd, as we know, just looked out of condition when he arrived, and he left out of condition, and somehow Brian Clough turned him into a footballer again. So
Well,
it's a difficult one, isn't it, Larry?
You wonder why we signed him. I know we needed a centre half, but I think we were legged over by Liverpool. 240,000 for a player who had lost his place at Liverpool.
Yeah.
And you wonder whether the Liverpool boot room legged Gordon Milne over, don't you?
I think they did. They probably wanted to just get rid of him as well.
Yeah. I don't know for certain, but I don't think Larry was the most the best influence in the dressing room. Because we had John Craven playing there the previous season with Alan Dugdale. What other centre halves do we have? We had Peter Hindley. So we had Hindley, Craven, and Dugdale. John Craven just got injured in the second game of the season, but he wasn't playing. He was playing in midfield, not
Right.
at centre back. And I think basically Lloyd took the place of Dugdale. But he played 34 games that first season. And he wasn't that far off being top scorer. He got 5 goals, and the top scorer only got 8.
Oh dear. Is this 4 or 5?
74-5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's another case of signing a player from Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, Chris Russell's right. It did seriously affect our finances, because we were due to sell Mick Maguire and Jimmy Holmes to Tottenham just a matter of days after, or a couple of weeks after Lloyd arrived. And Billy Nicholson, who negotiated the deal, got sacked because Spurs had a dreadful start to the season. And the deal fell through. And of course, that was, the economy was in a terrible state. The UK economy was in a dreadful state at that stage, and transfer fees just fell through the floor. We ended up having to have a fire sale, sell Willie Carr, Colin Steen, and then later Dennis Mortimer the following season, just to stay afloat. So the other one's Lewis Carey. Any memories of Lewis Carey?
None at all, Jim. I've got to be honest. No, nothing. Nothing. It's bizarre.
Yeah, but again, he played. He had 9 seasons at Bristol before coming to Coventry.
Right.
I can't remember what the fee was, but he played 23 games, and he went back to Bristol, homesick. And they went on to play another 10 seasons for Bristol. He made 645 appearances for Bristol City.
Yeah, and it's weird. As soon as I saw the name, I thought, well, I know the name, but I felt like I hardly ever saw him play. Weird.
Yeah.
We obviously made no impact whatsoever.
No, I think he was okay. He was fine, but it was a strange season, wasn't it? It was the Peter Reid season, the last season at Highfield Road. I'm not quite sure. Was Peter Reid still the manager when he? I think he probably was. I seem to remember Peter Reid coming in the press and saying, we don't want a player who's unhappy. We've reluctantly let him go back to Bristol.
He should have said we don't want a manager who's unhappy, because he wasn't happy, was he? I don't think he cared, did he?
No, actually, that's not right. He went back in February, so Mickey Adams had arrived. So it must be Mickey Adams said that comment. 23 appearances for us.
It's a defender, wasn't he?
He was a right back.
Yeah. At least I remember that bit. It's weird, isn't it?
Go on.
No, it's just strange how a player can just almost disappear from your memory when we're doing a history podcast. That's quite funny. But
Yeah.
But
He,
we went through a period of going through a lot of players, and that's probably the start of it, I reckon. It's there was just a lot of players, wasn't there? I think.
Yeah, there were. Just looking at the lineup, the City lineup under Peter Reid, Luke Steele, Lewis Carey, Stuart Giddings, Michael Doyle, A.D. Williams, Richard Shaw, Gary McSheffrey, Stern John, Dili Adebola, Eddie Johnson, Stephen Hughes. It's not a bad side, is it?
No, not at all.
And A.D. Williams A.D. Williams almost comes into that bracket, doesn't he? He had a long career at Reading. He went. Yeah, just looking at his record, he had 7 or 8 seasons at Reading, and then went to Wolves, and did very little, and ended up going back to Reading. He was at Wolves for three or 4 seasons, but only played about 40 games, and then went back to Reading and made several hundred games before he came to us. He only played 30 odd games for us under Mickey Adams.
Is he Lewis Carey? Is he assistant to Robbie Savage now at Forest Green?
He is, yes. He is.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if you heard what happened last night in that cup match where they have to play 4 senior players in the starting lineup.
Right.
So after 1 minute, Robbie Keane substituted the 4 senior players.
Robbie Savage, you mean?
I mean, Robbie Savage, yeah.
He subbed 4 senior players.
Straight off. He picked them and he subbed them after a minute, straight off.
Oh, there must be a loophole there that he's taken advantage of.
Well, that's going to open it for everybody now, isn't it?
Yeah. What was that in the
Football League trophy for the they're non-league, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Football League trophy equivalent of the FA trophy, whatever it's called, something like that. Yeah, so they've got to start with 4 senior players, and he substituted all of them after 1 minute.
Goodness.
And they won, but they were playing, I think, something like Wolves under 21s or something like that. They're playing the youth team from the Football League.
He's had a good start to the season. I think they're 2nd or 3rd in the conference nationally.
He's coming across as a decent manager, to be fair.
He did well with Macclesfield, didn't he?
Yeah, so got to give it his due. Yeah, he's done okay so far. Yes. I'll soon have Frank though.
So So yeah, so the Larry Lloyd comparison and the Lewis Carey comparison. I hope the Lewis Carey one doesn't apply to Wolfenden, but he has spent a lot of time at Ipswich before coming here, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else you could put in that sort of category. Players who've been somewhere for a very long time, regardless of Coventry City.
Chris Chilton.
Of course. Oh, I think, yeah. Any good examples?
Well, no, the example. I see what you mean. Somebody who's come to us after a long career with somebody else and been a success.
Yeah, I suppose Terry Yorith, would you count that? Was he a long time at Leeds?
Yeah, yeah, I think you would. I
Yeah,
think you would. Peter Hindley.
yeah.
He was a good, solid defender. Will Smith had a long career with Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Before he came to us. I'm trying to think of any others.
It's I can't think of many players beyond Coventry City. Actually, it's I have to do a bit of research on that one. I think, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll put my thinking cap on for next time. But I'm sure there are some. Were there any in the cup final team? Well, Nick Pickering, perhaps.
Yeah.
He was he was at Sunderland a long time. Cyril Regis.
Ah, that's probably a good example, actually.
And David Speedy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll give you another bad example.
Oh, go on then.
Kevin Drinkle.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes.
So I think, if you don't mind, we'll call it a day. And
We'll do that. I'll tell you what I'd like to do, Jim, is at some point maybe do an episode on local derbies, because we've got several this season.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a big one Saturday. We've got a big one the following Saturday. I think the Baggies can't be too far around the corner. It's
No.
I can remember one season in 1983, where there was 9 Midland clubs in the top flight. I think it was 9, of which 6 were in the bottom 7 at one stage.
1983.
I think it was 83. It's around about when Notts County were in the top flight.
Yes.
And I think everybody used the excuse of there's far too many derbies, and that's the reason why we're all struggling.
So do you count Stoke as that?
Yeah.
So you got in 81, 82, you had both Nottingham clubs. You had Stoke, you had Villa, you had Wolves, you had West Brom, Birmingham. That's it, 7.
7.
So,
yeah, there's definitely
obviously Coventry as well, 8.
Yeah, and there may be one with 9 in one season. But anyway, it'd be interesting to talk about the rivalries at some stage, because it's changed over the years, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Yeah.
So quickly, your thoughts on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good test for us. I think the next 2 games will give us a better idea of how the team's getting on, if it can hold its own in the top 6. I believe it can, and if we lost on Saturday and didn't win against Blues, maybe got a draw, it's not the end of the world. I think there'll be a lot to learn in these 2 games. I think our attacking style at home will give Birmingham some real problems.
Yeah.
But I think on Saturday, Leicester might just have too much for us even though they're in a bit of disarray, they've got some quality players. Although they did struggle against Oxford, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it'll be down to us and what we do in defence, I think, and whether or not we get caught too far up the pitch and the two lads at the back get exposed.
Yeah.
And of course, set pieces, it's still an issue.
Yes.
And it'd be interesting. To be honest, I'll sooner take a win and a loss than 2 draws in these next 2 games. I'll sooner just get the points.
Yes.
And if it means losing at Leicester and winning at home to Blues, then great. But 4 points, I think, out of these 2 games would be great, actually. Yeah. And of course, it keeps whoever it is away from us. That's the idea, isn't it? They're almost 6 pointers already, aren't they? So early on, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Well, as we saw on Saturday, there's surprise results. Teams who Middlesbrough held by Preston and by all accounts should have lost. West Brom lost at home to Derby. The surprise results. Of course, we go into October and we've got a couple of midweek games in October, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then into November. So the games are going to come thick and fast. We've got 6 games in October. It's a busy month. With some tough away games. Got to go to Millwall again, Sheffield Wednesday, although that's not looking that tough. And then Portsmouth and Wrexham, which will test us. 2 sides who play the long ball. Can we cope with that?
It'll test me. I'm going to Wrexham. I'm going to go to that one.
Good.
Get that game, get that ground out the way.
Speculation today that Phil Parkinson might be under threat.
I don't know what they expect, to be honest. I knew they're going to find it tough, and this is why they're signing players to try and stay in that division. Basically, it's a tough old league.
They spent over 30 million.
Yeah,
the owners will want better than the bottom 4, won't they?
Yeah. And they are paying over the odds, aren't they? We got far more for Sheath than I expected.
Well, yes, and they're also, buying. They tend to buy overage players, don't they?
Yeah.
Connor Cody apparently was badly exposed on Saturday. I'm surprised Dom Hyam isn't in the side. Frankly, he's a big upgrade to Cody, in my opinion. But yeah, they've got some pretty good players. But
yeah.
we said it before. These new squads take a while to bed in, don't they? Yeah. That's one advantage I think we've had this season. There's just a bit of tinkering with the side, and it's almost the side that played last season. They all know each other well. It's positive.
And currently, say that starting 11, I still think Wolfenden will come in for one of the centre backs. But if they were to get somebody in January, if these players keep playing how they're playing, where do they fit in unless they are a proper upgrade?
Well, that's right. And, we've got the problem with Kessler Hayden, haven't we?
Exactly.
I know he's injured, but, he should be good enough to start.
Yeah.
It's real competition in that position.
And you could say on Saturday as well, the way they were playing, if Ben Sheaf had still been here on the bench, what would be the point of putting him on? Because it wouldn't have improved what we were doing.
No.
So it's interesting. It's exciting. Like I said at the start of the show, and I see all the City fans up there now who've got smiling, big grins on their faces, and it's just great. It's just great. So hopefully, may it long continue. Hopefully, like this podcast as well, while we can.
Yes.
We'll be back. We'll be back next week. I think we will, won't we?
Yes.
We're back next week with a subject matter. Jim, thank you as always. It's been really interesting. And
thank you too.
Some great stuff in there.
Thank you for all our supporters who send interesting emails, and we'll keep on reading them out and discussing them.
Yeah, remember to contact Jim at claryborton@gmail.com or on other social medias. I mean, I'm always around on something. So just contact me and we'll chat about anything and everything to do with the magnificent Sky Blues. And let's have a campaign to change the name of the anecdote at least into something to do with Coventry City Football Club. Imagine if it was the Supporters Club bar like the old days. That'd be good, wouldn't it? All right. Well, good night all. And will we catch you up next week?
Okay. Good night, Claudio.
Radio Company dismissed. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely.